is Sree. So I go to LaSalle Academy, and I'm a senior right now. So thank you for the introduction. So it might sound that I had everything planned out, but in reality, I was very confused. So going into high school, I decided that I wanted to become a doctor, mainly because my mom really wanted me to be a doctor. So sorry, Mom. Next, I decided I want to be a researcher. And then that turned into mechanical engineering, and then computer science, and then finally started going into business entrepreneurship to start my own tech-based company. So originally, when I went into the high school with the thought of becoming a doctor, I took a bio class. And then I looked for opportunities at different hospitals to volunteer. And finally, I ended up volunteering at Sturdy Memorial Hospital. And it was a really great experience, but what I realized was that I loved helping others, but I wasn't too fond of needles and blood. So next, I also wanted to do, what I realized was I loved the idea of like actually coming up with something to help other people. So like actually discovering something, like possibly like a cure. So that's why I thought I'd want to go into research. So freshman year, I started this research project. So my school, we were required to do a science fair project for Rhode Island Science and Engineering Fair. So right now, this sounds really complicated, but it's really not. It's really not. So the role of the Fe3 ion in the sequestration of carbon dioxide by the biological pump. So basically what that means is that, so right now the issue, what I was really passionate about was global warming and climate change at the time, because Obama had just gone to the conference in Paris, and I was just really interested in it. And so what I did was I looked at, like, I just researched the topic, and I wanted to come up with a possible solution. So what this is saying is that in the ocean, there's these single-celled organisms called phytoplankton. They control most of the ocean's photosynthesis. So with the photosynthesis, like, it would take the carbon from the atmosphere, and then it would store some of it into the ocean. So my idea was if you increased the growth of phytoplankton, as well as their rate of photosynthesis, then you could combat global warming and climate change, because you would be intaking more carbon from the atmosphere. So that's basically what that is. So during this whole process, I had to reach out to different professors and, you know, come up with specific ways to come up with like my procedure and how to conduct it. So all of this couldn't have happened with all the mentorship that I gained, and that's from actually going out and emailing a lot of people to at least get one professor to email me back. So what I learned was that if you're passionate about something like this, everyone thought it was like work. Like everyone wasn't really too fond of science fair, but if you choose something that you're passionate about, it's not work if it's fun. That's what I found out. So if you enjoy what you're doing, just do it. Like Shia LaBeouf. But yeah, so also what I noticed was, so after I did my research and the experiment, I found that iron fertilization, so if you put iron into the ocean, it actually increases the growth of phytoplankton. So I called, I sent a letter to Sheldon Whitehouse, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, and I got a call from his ocean policy advisor, and we talked on the phone about why this wasn't being used. And from that interaction, what I realized was that I loved reaching out to different people, gaining different perspectives, and that contributed to what I want to do now. So next, when I went to the science fair, it was really well received. So talking to everyone, I actually got first grant, 2 special awards, and a scholarship from Rick. So that was really exciting. And since I was so passionate about it, about my project, like there was an opportunity for an internship at Tyco. And so success is a domino effect. So like during my interview, I talked about that project, and the interviewers, I think that's the main reason why I was able to land it, because interviewers saw that I was interested in what I was doing, and they liked that passion. And you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So just put yourself out there, and if you're really passionate, people will see you. And so, and the shots that go through, they will carry you really far. So everything that you do, they build up, and it just gets bigger and bigger, like more than you can imagine. So at Tyco, what it was that this was when I decided I wanted to go into mechanical engineering, where basically you're with a team and you build a project that the company actually uses. So my specific project was actually building a machine that would reduce the carbon footprint of 3D printers. So with 3D printers, what it is that if like one like measurement is off, you have to discard the whole entire prototype. So rather than discarding that prototype, we were like, what if we could just make that into new filament so you could reuse it? So that was our project. And we got to pitch it to the audience, to Governor Gina Raimondo, and I absolutely love just pitching it, like talking to people about it. And that was when that also contributed to where I am now. And so now, this is my computer science phase. What happened was I applied for a summer immersion program at GE over the summer. So I actually went to headquarters in Boston every day during the summer. And we learned about computer science, and we got with a group and actually got to pursue a project. So the reason why I applied for this was because I knew my dad was a computer engineer, but I wasn't sure what computer science was. I knew it was a thing. I knew that all I knew about it was that people were behind their computers coding, and I knew coding was a thing, but I wasn't sure what it was, which is why I applied for this. So just apply to as many opportunities as you can, because from each one you learn something that's going to help you where you are now. So the connections I made at GE were truly incredible. So it really helped me in the college application process. So actually what happened was WPI, I reached out to one of my mentors at GE, and she actually wrote me a recommendation letter for one of the scholarships at WPI. And because of that, I got a full ride there. So you never, like, make as many connections as you can and keep them, because they will help you. So now this is my favorite part. So basically, this is my company, Bodity. Freshman year, who's scared of like public speaking? Okay, yeah. But so basically, freshman year, I had to take a civics class, and what that civics class, what it was that 80% of our grade was based on public speaking, like how you're doing a class discussion. So my teacher actually approached me halfway through the quarter and was like, "You're failing my course." And so because of that, I kind of had to participate. And just to raise my hand, I'd start shaking, and it was really scary. After that experience, that was when I knew that this was a problem, and I really wanted to solve it. And so what I noticed was that, so right now I'm here public speaking, but I'm not as nervous as I was the first time I public speak. And what it was that I realized that as you public speak, like in front of an audience more and more, you kind of get used to that environment, so you're not as nervous as before. So I went on a tour of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, and they were talking about a language course that they offered. So say if you were taking French, your final exam is you putting on a virtual reality headset and being placed in a virtual cafe in Paris. And you're graded on how you interact with the people around you. And so I didn't know virtual reality was a thing, and once I learned that, I was like, this is really cool. So another opportunity that I took advantage of was the STAR Leadership Program at Dell EMC. And so what it was that I had to get with a group of people, and we had to create a booth to promote education regarding Dell EMC products. And so basically, I was like, I really wanted to incorporate virtual reality into this. So I was trying to find ways to incorporate this because I really wanted to go down this stream. And so what we did was right here, so right there, we had like a little chair. So you would sit in it, and then you would put on your virtual reality headset, and it was kind of like a game of Subway Surfers, where you could move, and then you could collect, instead of coins, you would collect like Dell products. And it would have like a description of what those products were. And so the executives that we pitched to, they were pretty amazed by it, and they really liked it. And so that was the moment I decided that, that was when I was first exposed to business. I wasn't sure what it was till then. All right, so back to research. I decided that I wanted to see, that was like my point where I was like, could I combine virtual reality with public speaking? So that was my aha moment, like, could this potentially work? So what I was thinking was, could I simulate a virtual audience with a real classroom audience? And so what I did was, I recorded a classroom at my school, and with a 360-degree video recorder, and basically I had students wear a virtual reality headset, and they would present to the virtual audience. recorded their heart rate when they were practicing a speech to me. The speech was just, I asked them a question like, what's your favorite animal? And then like it talked to me for like a minute about why that's your favorite animal. So the results showed that basically when you're presenting in front of a virtual audience, your heart rate is significantly higher. And so I had to reach out to many professors to see whether this was valid and like how to analyze my data. Because like first what happened was I was planning on using like an EKG where like you had to stick on the sticky pads, and then it was basically I had to analyze the actual like points in the graph. The heart rate sensor that I used was the beats per minute, and so I had a grad student at Virginia Tech help me analyze the data where he used the SPSS software through IBM, and that was when it worked. So basically, I went to the science fair voluntarily, and it was very widely received. Originally what happened was I was just planning on, seeing whether this worked because I was just interested in it. But once I took it to science fair, people were like, you could actually bring this forward. Like you could make this into like a real product. And that was when I decided to go down this route. So at science fair, I actually got best in fair, so top 10. And then I got special recognition from the governor and the American Psychology Association. So all of this just kind of motivated me to go forward with this project. And so there, at the science fair, I had to take many interviews. So one of them, I didn't even know she was from the Providence Journal, but she gave me a little excerpt in the Providence Journal. And you never know what can affect something. Like this was just a small paragraph, I didn't think much of it, but what happened was this organization called Rhode Island Virtual Realities, and they actually approached my school and they set up a meeting with me where I actually talked to her about my virtual reality and this project, and she was giving me a roadmap of how I could take this. Like you could build a company. And so from there, she actually also gave me the opportunity to present at one of her meetups, which was the first time I pitched my company. But yeah, also I decided that to make this more valid, I would write a paper. So me and the Virginia grad student, he helped me. We wrote a scientific paper, a research paper, and it's actually now accepted into a journal managed by Harvard. So that was really exciting because this shows that this is valid, it works. And the scientific, the reviewers, they give really, really positive feedback, which made me just want to move forward with this. So now to talk about my product, what it is, as I told you, the experiment, what I did was I had students wear the headset, I recorded their heart rate, analyzed it. So what the product would do essentially is that the user would they'd pick a experience on their phone, so they'd pick either present in front of an audience or a small classroom. They can present where they want to, they can pick where they want to present in. And basically you'd wear a wearable device rather than holding a heart rate sensor. And that wearable device would record your heart rate while you're presenting. And so rather than me analyzing it, the product would actually automize what I did. So where I'm at right now is that you present and then you get a dashboard of how you are. And what I want to do is actually have the app have a little light. So while you're presenting, having a little light where based on your heart rate, that light changes. So if you're getting more nervous and more anxious, that light would be red. But as you're getting more calm, blinking, it turns green. And then after that, doing more research and seeing how speech would correlate with heart rate. So while I'm speaking, having feedback saying oh, you should speak up here, or you should slow down here. And then the ultimate goal right now is actually building the environment. So right now what it is that you record it, you pre-record it, and you're presenting in front of a recorded audience, but actually building it with CAD and having the bots, each individual person would be a bot, and then based on how you're speaking, having that audience react to you. So that's where I'm at right now, what I'm trying to go for. And then also, right now what it is you need two components. You need the headset and you need a wearable device. But actually creating a cost-efficient headset where your heart rate would be monitored through just the headset. And so when I was testing the product, which was basically me doing the experimentation, someone was like, I totally forgot where I was and just focused on the classroom that VR portrayed. So this shows me that this is a viable product. Like this is gonna work. And so I actually filed a patent for it. So I have a provisional utility patent on the methodology, like using heart rate with virtual reality in terms of helping with public speaking. And then to test how it would do in the market, I conducted a marketability survey. So out of the 166 faculty members surveyed, 74.1% said that they would implement this in their classrooms. And then out of 306 students that were surveyed, 88.8% said that they do have anxiety about public speaking, which means that this is a problem and teachers are willing to actually implement this. And so these are the main drivers for the company right now. So as I said, the research, and then this is product development, so like building the app and getting it out on market. And then I couldn't have come this far without the help from all my mentors and all the opportunities that were given. Because writing my business plan, looking for more opportunities, like people saw that I really enjoyed this, like working on this, and that's why I feel like I've gotten a lot of support and people are willing to help because they want to help. People want to help. And so for the business models, what I'm planning on releasing is basically you would buy a $2.99 app, and that app, what it is that you select the experience that you want to practice in, and basically what I explained. So where I'm getting to is the B2B model. So I've approached different large institutions in different schools where I want to be able to actually provide services where you can record classrooms within their school. So students would be given like a login where they could practice their speeches in a classroom in their school. So the company has gotten a lot of recognition, and then from each recognition, there's just more opportunities that come with it. And so, like, thank you, Mr. Jones, for like approaching me for this opportunity right now.